Congresswoman Greene. That was set aside by the Speaker. If the Republicans move forward with the censure of Chairman Waters, do you think that should be revisited and bring back the Marjorie Taylor Greene censure resolution?
No, I think we have to deal with each issue as it presents itself to us. We acted with respect to Marjorie Taylor Greene in a bipartisan way in terms of removing someone from her committees because of her reckless, unrepentant behavior. And by the way, while we're on the subject of Marjorie Taylor Greene, since nobody has saw fit to bring this up, I'm shocked that the House Republicans apparently were plotting to form a Jim Crow KKK-like caucus. That should shock the conscience of every American. Not just every Black American, every white American, every Latino American, every Asian American, every Native American, all Americans. Why? Because the motto of this country is e pluribus unum. Out of many, we are one. Not out of many Anglo-Saxons, not out of many Europeans, not out of many Confederate sympathizers, out of many, we are one. That is what makes America a great country. The gorgeous mosaic of people who have come to us from all across the world. That's what American exceptionalism is all about. And so again, perhaps Kevin McCarthy should sit this one out because he's got zero moral standing. Clean up your own mess while we as House Democrats are working to clean up the mess that has been inflicted upon the American people as a result of a once-in-a-century pandemic, which is why we've acted with a once-in-a-century transformative bill, the American Rescue Plan, to crush the virus, provide direct relief and money in the pockets of everyday Americans, and lay the foundation to ultimately supercharge the economy and build back better for the people. That's what House Democrats will continue to work on because that's what the American people want us to do. That's what they want us to do. And that's what we're going to continue to do.
To follow up, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you. My follow-up was going to be about that caucus, and thank you for addressing that. I want to ask you another thing. There are a lot of Americans waiting for this verdict in Minnesota with a lot of anticipation, a lot of dread, and I just wondered, do you have any words for the American people on ahead of that verdict on what is appropriate and what not be an appropriate way to react?
Well, our system is not a perfect one, but it is the system of justice that we have that allows for a prosecution and a vigorous defense. We've seen both. In my humble opinion, George Floyd was murdered on that street corner in Minneapolis. I think the overwhelming majority of the American people believe that to be the case. It's my hope that the jury will return a verdict commensurate with what we've seen. And if we don't have that verdict, then we are going to continue to fight for liberty and justice for all in the appropriate way, in the democratic way, in the legislative way, in the way that is consistent with nonviolent direct action, peaceful protest embedded in the principles of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, and the right to petition our government. America is not a perfect country. The framers weren't perfect, but they did promise us a march toward a more perfect union. And whatever happens in Minnesota, we as House Democrats are going to continue that long, necessary, and majestic march toward a more perfect union. Last question. Debbie.
I want to comment. I am tired, and I think it is wrong in this country.
Debbie, Mike.
Mike.